Max, we have a lot we want to talk to you about today. There's so much going on right now. So I wanted to start here. You went to Lewis University, and Lewis University has a mascot that is very creepy. And I wanted you to ask you about Bedcheck Charlie. Do you know why that is the creepy mascot of Lewis University?
I don't. I really don't. No, it is a little creepy though. If you've actually seen the real mascot in person too, it's a little weird.
Did he ever
Definitely.
check
But
on you when you were in bed?
no, no, thankfully he didn't. I think that was just for the aviation students.
He does have like big aviator goggles and like a cape, seemingly, or at least like a pilot scarf.
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge flying. It's like we're the Flyers, so it was a huge aviation school. Everybody was there for to be pilots or like work in the air industry. So that was probably a big part of it.
Max, I have a fundamental question about how much you are marveling at Jimmy Butler in the way that clearly fans are. What's it like to watch that as close as possible?
It's unbelievable what he's doing right now, the way he's playing, and what he's capable of. Nobody can stop him. Honestly, he's the best player in the world right now, in my eyes. He's unguardable, he's unstoppable, and he's simply just carrying us on his back throughout that whole series, and hopefully throughout many more.
Were you guys talking on the bench? This is David Sampson. How are you? Congrats. First round.
Thank you,
It's
man.
outstanding. Were you guys talking about the fact that they were not switching and having Giannis try to check Jimmy? Were you trying to take advantage of that? Or is this just a case where Jimmy's so hot, just give him the ball and it doesn't matter who's covering him?
It honestly did not matter. There was not one person they could put on him that was going to stop him. When he's making shots, he's making threes like that. He's pretty impossible to guard.
Hi, Julio here. I'm the social media guy for Dan Le Batard Show. I be tagging your ass in all them pictures. Salute to you, brother. Is it creepy as hell that Dan's father had such a problem with you and showed up with chains to the arena to hunt you down?
No, it's all fun and games, man. I actually got to meet him this year. So he came to one of the Heat fan events, and I got to meet him and his wife. So it was a lot of fun meeting them.
Bedcheck Poppy.
I'm watching videos of Bedcheck Charlie, and this is going to stay with me for quite some time. How do you play basketball with
it'll
this
be in
thing
your
around?
dreams. Yeah.
No, it's haunting me. And it's quite literally visiting me in my nightmares. And sometimes Bedcheck Charlie decides to have a questionable mustache, and sometimes he opts for the clean shaven. I'm not sure how many Bedcheck Charlie heads that there are, but it's probably a good thing for everybody that Bedcheck Charlie got phased out.
There probably wasn't many mascot heads. We didn't have that much money at Division II school, so the mustache probably just fell off that night or something.
I'm assuming you guys didn't pop champagne winning the first round. When did you start preparing? When's your first practice? Are you flying to New York immediately from Milwaukee? Did you stop in Miami for a minute or two? Because on to New York for a round 2 semifinal matchup. No champagne, right?
No. The job's not done. We flew home last night, so I got home at like 6 in the morning, 6:30. So a little early wake up call, but yeah, we're making a couple days here, and then we're probably going to New York on Saturday, I think.
What song was played in the locker room after you guys won? Was it Butt Rock? Was it Jimmy? Who played the music?
I think it was Jimmy. I don't even know. Last night was honestly a blur. I don't even know how we won the game. I honestly don't know what happened. I don't know. It was just like another like big lead in the fourth quarter, and then we just did a bunch of random stuff and won the game. I couldn't even tell you what happened.
That's kind of how it went, Max Strus with
Yeah.
us. And Max, were you also confused whether or not Milwaukee had timeouts? Because there were several points in both of your most recent comebacks where a timeout is usually called, and it wasn't called. And I think it kind of led to what you felt, which was just this one big hallucination.
Yeah, honestly, we were all questioning it at the regular end of the regular time. Spo came in the huddle. He was like, "They didn't call a timeout. Like, what are we doing? Like, they didn't call a timeout." And we were like, we didn't even know they had a timeout. We just figured they did it. The guys on the court, but yeah, we were all kind of questioning what was going on. But thankfully, they didn't use it.
How much of Spo's time was spent telling you guys that the other guy is doing it wrong when you said it didn't even matter what they're doing because Butler was so good, right, that it didn't matter. He calls the timeout or not. that Jimmy is carrying the Heat to a victory, right? That's your feeling. That's your true feeling in the huddle, is it not? That just give Jimmy the ball, we're going to win this game.
Exactly. We had like complete and uttermost confidence in whatever Jimmy wanted to do, whatever Jimmy wanted to shoot, whatever move he wanted to make. We all had the confidence that it was going to work. He told us that in regular time he was going to shoot a 3 to go for the win, and he did. And he missed it, but we were all happy. Like, we were like, all right, man. And then we got a steal and a couple of turnovers and missed free throws, and somehow took it to overtime.
There was a moment in overtime where it looked like Milwaukee was starting to come back, and someone other than Jimmy had to do something, and the ball ended up in your hands. And watching it kind of felt like, okay, a bad possession kind of got bailed out because Giannis fouled you. You go to the free throw line, you make 2 of 3. When you miss the third, is your first immediate thought, oh no, I've done this, and Jimmy Butler's doing that? Will he ever forgive me? It's not even your own professional pride. It's worrying about Jimmy and the ramifications of that.
No, I mean, we were up 4, so I thought we were good. I didn't think that we were going to lose the game there. I didn't think that was going to be the problem. But I knew that we were going to get a stop. They came down and got a quick one, but then we had another whole possession. So there was still a lot of time left. So the free throws weren't that nerve-wracking, and I'm glad I made 2. I rushed the third one to get back on defense, but I kind of regret that now. I kind of wish I would have stayed on the line and finished that one off.
The idea that Jimmy is in this zone, I keep on, and I hate to keep returning to him, but I'm heartened to hear that you guys are also similarly obsessed with what the hell he's doing. Like, it feels like a guy who's throwing a no-hitter. It feels like he's on a run. This heat check that still keeps coming up hot. What's it like superstition-wise around him? Are you acting differently to keep this going? Like, how do you not get in the way of someone who's in a zone like that?
Jimmy's literally the most normal dude when he's in these zones. He just listens to music. Could be anybody on any given day, whoever he's listening to, and you just know that he's locked in. We all treat him the same way. We all just go and do our jobs. It's not like we're trying to, stay out of his way or anything like that. We're all just trying to help him and, know that he's a special talent, and are honestly just happy to be a part of it.
But the biggest difference between regular season Jimmy and playoff Jimmy in the locker room is what?
There really isn't one, to be honest. He's the same, like, laughable, messing around type of guy. He just has like this aura about him that he's just confident and that nobody can stop him. And it just feeds off into our team, and it's given us all the confidence in the world to beat anybody.
You're sticking to the message perfectly. I love these answers, but do you not see a difference as his teammate sometimes, or the issue of load management that comes up with the CBA that you all just ratified recently, right? Where part of winning the awards is that you have to play 65 games or more. You're saying, if you want to say, that there's no difference between regular season Jimmy Butler and playoff Jimmy Butler.
There's a couple times during the regular season where he's done this. It kind of seems like he just picks and chooses whenever he wants to do it. He's got like an on-off switch.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. He's one of the smartest players I've ever played with. So like during the regular season, that's, he's always that. But now it's just like complete takeover mode, and you can't even. I don't know. He's unbelievable.
We're going to have Charles Oakley joining us later in this show, and I imagine in the coming days there's going to be a lot of Heat Knicks history talk that is going your way. Do you have you're young. Do you have any
Very
memories
young.
of when this rivalry was really cooking, or does it just mean nothing to you and it's just kind of cool to play in Madison Square Garden?
You hear about it, and around the locker room and around the halls of the Heat building. You hear about the rivalries. But I really wasn't around to watch them, to be honest with you. But they've been playing videos of it, during the regular season when we had a couple like big games against them. They were playing some old rivalry games to get us hyped up. So we know there's bad blood there, and we know that this is going to be a fun series.
You were born, I just looked this up, you were born in 1996, Max,
Yep.
which is disturbing. Has Pat Riley explained to your locker room his role in this blood feud?
No, he hasn't talked to us yet. Maybe a practice on Saturday.
So when you think of Jeff Van Gundy, do you think of him as the analyst on TV, or as the guy who hangs on Alonzo Mourning's legs?
I've seen the video. But I think of him more as the analyst. Yeah.
Is there a coach who you would most want to be hanging onto your leg? Is there a draft? If you were to draft coaches in the NBA, opposing coaches, or least.
Because for me, at least, it's Bedcheck Charlie. I would not want Bedcheck Charlie holding on to my leg.
That's a tough question. I don't know.
It is.
I've never had a guy wrapped around my leg. No.
Quinn Snyder.
You can't picture Tom Thibodeau hanging on Max's leg, right, by Game 5 of this series with his sort of disheveled, sweaty look. I don't think that Coach Spoelstra would ever hang on anyone's leg. He has too much gravitas, doesn't he? Max, can you imagine Spoelstra the coach getting in the middle of a fight that you're in?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't put it past him. He'd get in there and get tangled up.
But not hanging on a leg.
I could see it happen. He'll do anything. He'll do anything to win, man. He'll do anything to win.
Is that play against Boston where they incorrectly called your heel out when it was over the line? Has that stayed with you in any way? Are you staying away from the touchline a little bit?
They called it again in the playing game against Chicago. I got another one.
Oh, that's right.
I wasn't out of bounds again. So I don't know what the deal is, but I think about it all the time. There was a 3 I shot last night in the corner that I made that I thought they were going to call out of bounds again too, but luckily I finally got away from it.
What size shoe do you wear?
I'm a 14.
Thought about 13.5 for this series.
Squeeze it in there.
I might have to take the blisters and the bleedy toes just to stay out of bounds, huh?
Well, Max, we're so grateful as Heat fans and Heat lifers that have always believed in this team and has always believed in your ability to step up to the plate. We're so happy for you as an 8 seed to march on in the second round against the New York Knicks. What?
You, not Max. You.
I know. I've always believed in you. You know, you guys had a helter-skelter season a bit. It was a little up and down. All right? Forgive me for losing faith a couple of times, but I'd like to apologize to all of you.
It's all good, man.
Don't let him back on the bandwagon. Tell Mike Ryan he can't go on the bandwagon.
Release the bandwagon.
I said you probably should have lost it.
The only one I know that supports us is Jeremy back there. So
come on.
My man. What's up, Max?
Let's go.
How you doing, brother?
We continue our Heat Knicks preview hour. We were most recently joined by Max Strus, and now we're joined by an icon in terms of intimidation in the NBA, Charles Oakley. We always enjoy having him on the show. He's promoting his book, The Last Enforcer, outrageous stories from the life and times of one of the NBA's fiercest competitors. Charles, thank you so much for joining us. And David Sampson is sitting in with us right now. He is a lifelong Knicks fan, and he is taking a curious approach to this first-round advancement of the New York Knicks, which is his expectations aren't where everyone else is. He's not celebrating out in 7th Ave. He wants more from this. But me, remembering your Heat-Knicks clashes, I understand that was a very long time ago, and I think Knicks fans are right to be celebrating this. Where do you fall?
I fall in, I think that both teams, Miami had a great run against Milwaukee. The Knicks, I was on Steers Radio last week, and I said someone in the Knicks and Cleveland series going to make a big run in the East Coast. So I guess it's not look like the Knicks is up. So no, it's just good to see, the rival come back between New York and Miami. I know when we played them back in the days, it was a war. It was like Ali and Joe Frazier or Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray. It was some great bouts, but I'm just glad to see that the fans can connect again in New York and Miami. It's gonna be crazy, I'll tell you that.
But Oak, this is David. I'm asking you a separate question, which is when you look at your Knicks teams with Ewing and Starks and Anthony, and you're looking at what the Knicks are doing now, if we were on 7th Avenue celebrating winning a first-round series in '94, let's say, you would have laughed at us and told us to get our asses home and get off the street, right?
No doubt. It's the new generation. It's what's going on. It's a new space out here. And New York fans is glad that, they can get to the second round. It's been a long time coming. And you got to give credit to the management for its coaching staff, for guys who bringing players in, Thibodeau, getting the unit he can trust. And I think he's a veteran coach. And you see that Cleveland just, it was just too weak. They were out, New York was just too tough. Cleveland, like, they was just going from ninth grade to high school. They know what to expect, and the Knicks just, Miss Mitchell Robinson just dominate the board. They showed that they can make a deep run. Julius Randle hurt. They still made, sacrifice guys came and plug in. It's just guys just doing what they're supposed to do. It's playoff. Step your game up and hold one another accountable. So that's what they're doing.
Charles, one of the most disturbing things I've seen as a person who grew up rooting for the Knicks was how you were treated by the Garden, by James Dolan. And I just wonder, are you even allowed in the building? Can you partake in any of this rivalry in person? Where are you? Where's the state of your union?
No, I'm not allowed in the building. But I see a lot of the old heads in there. We supposed to stick together, and now everybody's just out for the dollar. It's all about the dollar. But, I'm just glad to see the fans can celebrate and have a good time in New York. Besides, the Giants, the Jets, the Yankees, and the Knicks is back on the map. And I'm glad to see that because they sweat in tears, and Spike Lee and all other fans who come to the games and hold their head up and hold their head down. But right now, they hold their head way up in the air.
But you're not giving credit to Dolan. You said, and I liked what you said. You said management. Let's give credit to what management's doing. Does one round change everything about what's happened with how Dolan has run this team?
Well, I think what going on with the team now should have been get someone who knows basketball, understand who can put teams together. I mean, I didn't think the Brunson trade was going to be great, but coming from out west playing east, and I think that he was had a harder time, but he proved me wrong. Doing a great job, leadership, and that's how I was saying back in our team that when you get a superstar and you pay him that money, and Brunson changed the whole narrative of the Knicks, and he been stellar since he came to the team, and I think that Robinson got better, Julius got better. I mean, all guys have got better. And that's why they winning. And in basketball, you win towards the end of the season. They had a couple, winning streaks during the season, right for All-Star, after All-Star, and gave themselves some cushion. And, they played Cleveland in the first round. Cleveland just they need a lot of pieces. And I thought Cleveland had a good team. Until, like I said, the playoff can show a lot of weakness, and it showed a lot of weakness in Cleveland.
So much of
that's my hometown.
So much of this matchup, Oak, is about nostalgia. And you mentioned some of the old heads that you see who are getting paid by Dolan, appearing, meeting and greeting. I see them at center court. I see them doing corporate events. Who's the guy that you're most sad to see not on your side of the aisle here? Because your teams, you were a brotherhood in blood. You guys bled together.
Well, my thing is, what I did? I was a big brother to all the guys I played with. And some people in life have to continue. They have to make money, pay bills and do other things with the family. Not really mad with all the players, but some guys, somebody could have stood up and said something. I played 10 years in New York, and no one said nothing I played with. It's other guys on other teams spoke up because I'm a real guy. I'm a gentleman, and I just don't take a lot of stuff. And they know that, and that's why I had, leadership on when I played, whoever I played with, Toronto, Chicago, with Michael. I think I was the one who brought the leadership to the team and held guys accountable.
I'm sure we can find out the answer in your book, The Last Enforcer, but I'm wondering where that rivalry with the Heat ranks in your personal rankings among the best rivalries, the most intense rivalries you were ever a part of.
Well, it definitely one of the toughest ones, because, the score was probably 82 to 84, 79 to 80, and it was consistent like that. Every possession was a key. You try to, not turn the ball over. You had to make your free throws. So if you look at basketball now, free throws not important no more. You can get, 6, 7 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of the game. But if you watch, I didn't see the Milwaukee game, but I watched SportsCenter this morning. It shouldn't be mad at themselves. Your best player missed 13 free throws. Turn the ball over in a crucial situation. So, you don't double team Jimmy. So it was a lot for a team that just, won a championship a few years ago and, trying to get back to Milwaukee. They had a lot of mishaps. for a veteran team. Most, like Golden State, they're going to turn the ball over, but they're going to outshoot whoever they play. So when you're a veteran team, you got to show you're a veteran team, because these young teams, they can run, they can jump. They're just not smart as a veteran team. But sometimes when you give a team chance to hang around, like Milwaukee did with Milwaukee, Spoelstra doing a great job coaching.
Oak, let's pretend that Jim Dolan's facial recognition software was deactivated for a night, and you got to go back to the Garden, and you were asked to counsel this locker room on how to stop Jimmy Butler. What are you telling this Knicks team?
How to stop Jimmy Butler? First of all, I think they're going to just, let the game play of itself. In the game, you come out, you have 2 or 3 options how to stop the best player. So first quarter, we see how it's going. If he come out hot, you run somebody at him, make him get the ball up. And, so if you don't never get like a 10, 20 points, in a quarter, you don't have to show your hand. You wait, you show your hand when he's hurting your team. And, Butler, he's been great. He's been super. Carrying the team when the best players got hurt, other, running partners score. So now Strus has to change his game plan. And, for us, the last series in Milwaukee, they beat them at their game. They supposed to be a defensive team and the best in the league, but any team Pat Riley had or whoever in Miami, they're gonna play defense. They're gonna play within themselves, and that's one thing I like about them. They hold guys accountable. A lot of teams in the NBA just roll the ball out, like Minnesota, or a few other teams. You just see them. You don't see no good common sense of understanding one another, and that's what you can't win the playoff if you don't have no good chemistry and smart players.
You finished where I wanted you to start, because the way you'd stop Jimmy Butler, if you are Oak, prime Oak, it's putting him on his ass. Don't deny that that's how you would stop Butler.
No, my thing is, I'm not hurt nobody, this and that, but you make it tough for him. Just don't let him come to the paint. You got to challenge him. You knock him down, but you knock him down to hurt him. But if he keep coming in the paint and that's your space, you got to let him know. You got to pay a toll to come in here.
I like the idea better, thinking about your brand of basketball with today's players, trying to picture you playing against the Warriors. And there's a player now, Draymond Green, who tries to be Oak, but to me there was only one Oak. So if you were playing today, would you bring your brand of basketball to today, or would you have to play different to be successful and the leader that you were yesterday?
Good question, but I think when you have IQ, you let the game play itself out. Golden State, Draymond do a lot for that team. He get them going. Thing with me and Draymond is, Draymond ain't running to no guys like me in the NBA. Karl Malone, big bodies every night. He running to guys, 6'10", 200 pounds. He's getting into them, making it tough. And when you make something tough for guys in this day, they flow away from the basket. So every time he gets into bigger guys, it's better for his team and better for their defense. And you want guys shooting 3-pointers. And whoever played Golden State, the best way to beat them is keep them around 75, 82 shots a game. They shoot it down 82, 85, they're going to beat you because they got a better shooter, they got a better scheme, and they just play within that. Draymond might take 2 shots one night, he might take 12. They take what you give them, but they got the better score, and you got to give Steve Kerr a lot of credit, going into Sacramento last night, knowing that they had to win, going home without Draymond, knowing they had to win, and he's filling the block. He's filling all the blocks, and now they're going back home, got a chance to close it out.
Oak, in the summary of your book, it's a list of names, many of whom still have residence today: Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Barkley, Ewing, Phil, Pat Riley, James Dolan, and also Donald Trump. What's your best Donald Trump story?
Well, I've been knowing Donald Trump since I got to New York in 88, 89. But the best one is the one about the birthday party of Michael Jordan in Washington. But he's just a great guy. And he got to be the president. You know what they say. Once a kid you keep letting the kid do stuff over and over, and then once he get a little power, it's gonna be hard to handle. So once you get to the White House and his antenna went up, and he started flowing, feeling good by himself. He said one story, another story. Everybody started laughing, didn't say nothing about it. So he kept telling stories. But Hey, he's just a guy. Hey, what he say, he stand on, and everybody got their own way of doing things. And he probably never expected to ever be a president, but he always talked about doing it. So he had, everybody said these days you got to plan stuff out, this and that. It was always on his list, but he was saying it could just be to move the crowd or move a business here and there, but he did it. It's all you got to say. It's like winning a championship. Once you win one, you might not never win another, but as long as you win one, so
I really hope he doesn't win another championship.
Yeah, one and done.
You want to learn more?
Yeah, hoping one and done.
Well,
you want to hear more about Oak? You got to buy his book. It's called The Last Enforcer. And that makes me happy that you wrote a book, Oak, because I'm reading it, because you are the last enforcer. Thank you, Oak.
I didn't let you down in the book, neither.
Is there anything scarier than Charles Oakley just lingering on your Zoom call?
Bedcheck Charlie.
Anthony Mason.
Charles Oakley could not figure out a way out of the show's Zoom call. And I want to apologize for asking that question about Donald Trump.
And you should.
What did you think was going to happen?
I thought I was going to get a funny story about how Trump was, this buffoon. And what I realized is that, oh no, Charles Oakley might be staying at a certain hotel when he visits here next week.
It's a process over results kind of thing. I'm with you on the process. Like, maybe he would have given you something. Okay, cool. See you later. But,
But when he's on the front of the book, right, the name is there to help sell books, and therefore you're going to do it and not sell him out in a story as an answer to your question.
Apparently.
You missed that one.
But then he just stuck around, and I couldn't say any of these things until now because he was lingering in the call, and I was afraid of what he might hear me say.
It is interesting to see people that had these relationships with Donald Trump before he became everything that he was, which is a seditionist, an insurrectionist, and a racist. He may have always been a racist.
Yeah, he's
but
always been that.
All right, I don't mean to get bogged down in this, but I say this because I was actually in a group chat reliving Knicks Heat rivalry memories, and someone threw in the group chat the going fishing still that TNT put up in 2013, and it was Amari and a fire extinguisher and Mello. And Donald Trump was also going fishing as a member of the Knicks because he was synonymous with New York. Like, that's what he was. He was this New York character. And, yeah, of course Charles Oakley would have had a relationship with Donald Trump back then. He was associated with the city forevermore.
Was in Home Alone at the
Two.
Plaza Hotel.
Home
Home
Alone
Alone 2.
Thank you.
But all of which reminds me, as we were on this Zoom call, Jess.
But wait.
What?
And then what happened?
In Home Alone 2?
I just mean a lot has since happened.
I think she means since Home Alone
Yeah.
too, but
Well, they
could be wrong.
rebranded as the Sticky Bandits.
That would make it like a tricky territory to throw on the lap of a former NBA great in an interview when you want a certain answer, and then if you don't get the answer you want, you're left with this on your lap.
It was a real regret that I'm going to carry into my weekend.
Oh yeah.
But
we used to have one more day.
It reminds me of the Zoom era. And it reminds me of my favorite version of the NFL draft, which was the Zoom pandemic draft. That, to me, I don't give a about Roger Goodell hugging people on a stage. I want to see inside of all of these weirdos' residences, Belichick's dog being only one small taste of it. Remember what Matt Nagy was sitting inside of? Like, just a room decorated by play calling
And then
sheets?
what happened also. Pablo, the one thing that I remember from that draft, I don't know if everyone else had this as their takeaway, was like how much the broadcast kept bringing up like the saddest moments of every draftee's life. Do you guys remember that as like the sad draft?
That always happens.
No,
though. There's always a package for somebody that's lost somebody or something tragic.
Yeah, that's true.
happened.
Like there's
That
always like
happens.
Rinaldi. It used to be the Rinaldi thing on game day, right? And like that's true. Except I think during the Zoom draft, there was less B-roll of things happening at the draft, and so there was just like a list of facts about each draftee, and so like childhood trauma came up again and again and again and again, and that's what I will always remember it for.
I was made incredibly sad by Roger Goodell's like home setup. It was like a very like 1990s.
Remember that chair?
Oh,
It was
yeah,
like
the
so
chair.
sad.
back
I'm like,
then.
wait, he makes $250 million every single second, and he's got a wooden.
You
like,
had him sitting in a baseball mitt?
There is no correlation between the amount of his salary and the ability. Actually, there may be an indirect correlation and the ability to be
Bishop
technologically
to Rook 9.
proficient. They had a bunch of people go to his house to set him up, and like the hazmat suits, the outbreak suits, right, with Dustin Hoffman and Rene Russo going in to try to make it so it would be okay. But they were doing that for all the teams.
Totally agree with you.
It was a nightmare.
But also, he makes how much money? And the old wooden 90s TV setup was disgusting.
No, it was great. Everything about that pandemic broadcast, because there was a lot of bad content that was being produced, and we were so starved for content.
Remember the horse, the game of horse that the
Yeah.
NBA tried playing?
Yeah,
remotely?
we were so starved for content, and that actually felt like a polished production, such that it was amongst the social distancing aspects of it and just the times. But my main takeaway from that was, man, Trey Wingo absolutely rocked hosting that broadcast. Unfortunately, just a few months later, he was let go. But that was a masterclass in television hosting, and I actually thought that Roger Goodell was quite charming. For someone that doesn't give off a lot of charm, he was welcoming, and this was trying to make this seminal benchmark, because the draft means so much to so many people, because for many franchises, it's a highlight of the year.
I hate the draft. I hate the NFL draft.
Really?
I hate
As a television production?
No, as a concept. I hate
Why?
MLB draft because all it does is help people celebrate crappiness. Hey, look, we've got the first pick in the draft. How great is that? Well, you got that because you sucked. And executives, I never wanted to be reminded of that. I wanted to get the 28th pick every year.
Wait, I thought you were gonna go with the take of like the draft is like inhumane and players don't get to choose where they play, and then they're like stuck, signing
Didn't even
contracts.
occur to me.
Right? No, you went the route of like, oh, the Carolina Panthers should be ashamed of themselves
Yes.
for having the first pick.
Ooh, are they going to
because
get
they're-
Bryce Young, though?
I think they are. Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
He's a high achiever.
Would you wait? Why not wait for Caleb?
Caleb Williams out of USC.
Thank you. I understand. Why not wait?
Be bad again for another year. They could pull that off because they're a miserable team.
Comes from ownership. They say, listen,
I like that, David.
I
But
think
they
we got to hold
traded up
out.
for the number one pick, so they're probably gonna pick a quarterback.
They are, but I'm saying that's something that gets talked about beforehand, which is, do we want to tank one more year? Tank for Tua.
But David, as somebody who also has been on reality shows, who has been the first person voted off in Survivor, I do wonder how you like the idea.
Felt gratuitous.
It's so ridiculous.
In the Philippines, by the way.
Yes.
We kicked you all the way out. But the point is, if you were to change the draft,
Should have been on Team Braun.
the draft, if you don't like the draft for your own reasons, and Jessica doesn't like the draft for reasons that have to do with labor and concerns of freedom of choice when it comes to who you work for, what about draft abolition? What about the way of programming?
Listen, so we are more aligned than you think. I want no draft. I want no slots. I want no nothing. I want there to be a salary cap, and I want everyone to be a free agent every year, including amateurs, any age. I don't need an age gap. You want to be an MLB at 16 or an NBA at 14?
But your franchise would not have competed.
Have at it.
You wouldn't have competed for those talents. You would have been outgunned.
No, that's why there's a salary cap, right?
Okay.
There's only, I said that was part of it.
But
Okay.
there's also like, now you're recruiting. Now you're selling Miami.
That's how we used to do it.
Now, but
that's the advantage.
the idea, what I want, speaking of like cameras everywhere, I want a camera watching the courtship. I want to see the rose ceremony. I want to see the Miami Marlins or the Dolphins try to sell Bryce Young on joining their team.
Will I play? There you go. That's what the players want to know. Am I holding the clipboard for Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, or am I coming into play right now? Carolina, if you're drafted by Carolina, the assumption I have is if you're not the starting quarterback next year and you're the number one pick tonight, then you did something wrong.
And this is working so great for college football. Nobody has any problems with how it's going right now.
What problems would you want? The fact is they're making money in college. Now they're going to make money in the pros. There is free agency in college, more so than there is. Look at the portal. All the portal is free agency, right? That's it.
No one's earning a salary, though, so it's not quite the same thing.
Free agency means the choice that you have to play where you want based on the money that you can get to go where you want to play.
Sure.
But the NIL, David, to Jessica's point, is currently the closest proxy to an actual salary in exchange for services. So it's not free agency. De jure,
Yes,
it's free agency
and
it's
been the only way to finally compensate these players. They've finally just started getting paid.
Okay, once you get your opinions out of the way about that you needed fairness, I'm asking, do you not realize that players are now switching, not having anything to do with where Deion Sanders is?
The mechanism is now absolutely one of player choice dictating player destiny.
Player money dictating player choice, dictating player destiny.
And so tonight, when we get to this draft in which nobody has any idea who's actually good at quarterback.
The Carolina Panthers? It's not Caleb Williams.
It's not going to be Caleb Williams.
That's the
I
only
can
thing
guarantee you he won't be picked.
I guarantee it. That's about it. So what's really interesting for me to watch is not who Goodell hugs and who trades what pick for who. I like watching the drafts 2 years later to see how badly everyone screwed it up.
Well, then you'd realize that Trey Wingo really knocked that one out of the park.
You're so sick. Good God.
Welcome to the second round, Jimmy Butler.
You know who never needs to win in the draft? The Miami Heat, because they're champions on
Let's
the floor.
go!
Let's go.